Star Wars 7x7 episode 1791 today. More interviews from Celebration Chicago, this time with illustrators Chris Reiff and Chris Trevas. Let's go! Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod and this is Star Wars 7x7. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode where we're going to talk about car repair, of all things. I don't know if this is, anything similar to your experience, but when I got my first car, that car was something like 20 odd years old and didn't have any owner's manuals with it, so you have to go get something called a Haynes Manual, which is what I did for my old Volkswagen Beetle, so that way I could at least do something resembling taking care of it on my own. Because, of course, I didn't necessarily have the money to just bring it into the shop anytime something went wrong. No, I had to kind of figure that stuff out for myself. So, knowing now that there are Haynes manuals out for things like the Millennium Falcon, well, that's very cool to me on multiple levels, not just in the Star Wars level, but just on the, sheer historical experience of, that was my, first big car experience, having a Haynes manual. So, yeah, it was very cool to then at Star Wars Celebration Chicago be at the Insight Editions booth, and as I was waiting for the opportunity to interview Lauren Peterson, who was on the show previously in this series of interviews for Celebration Chicago, and also Matthew Reinhardt for that matter, there were two other gentlemen who were there doing a signing, and I said, who are those guys? And they said, oh, it's Chris and Chris and blah, 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 blah. And I said, can I interview them too? And they said, sure. So I got to interview both Chris's after their signings were done, and the folks at Insight Editions were kind enough to say, hey, thank you for doing that. Why don't you take along a copy of our Haynes Manual of the Millennium Falcon, which was really very nice of them. And I will be reviewing this in a later episode of the show too. But for today, we're going to talk to Chris Trevas and Chris Reiff, and they are both illustrators of Haynes Manuals as well as other projects too. You'll hear a little bit about that, as well as what they know for sure. And it's very Han Falcon centric, as it turns out. So those will be coming up after the break. Before we get there, though, I just want to say once again, thank you so much for joining me for this episode. And as always, may the Force be with you wherever in the world you may be. And now stay tuned, and I'll be right back with my interviews with Chris Trevas and Chris Reiff. Hey Rebel Rouser, if you've got a business that needs to reach a dedicated audience of Star Wars fans, or you know somebody who does, then you might want to reach out to me. I've got a show that reaches thousands of people between the audio version, the video version, and our social media channels, and I'd love to find out how I can help you with your business ventures too. Just reach out at sw7x7.com/sponsors, that's plural SPONSORS, that's sw7x7.com/sponsors, and let's see how we can work together. All right, hi, what's your name? What's your Star Wars claim to fame?
My name's Chris Reiff. Claim to fame, I guess, is toy design, product development, and more recently illustration work, like the Haynes Manuals and some packaging art for Hasbro. So.
Excellent. So, when it comes to Star Wars, what do you know for sure?
What do I know for sure? That Han shot first. I think that's a pretty safe one.
Excellent. All right, that'll work. For anybody who wants to know more about what you do and what you're going to be doing in the future, where can they find you online?
Mostly on Facebook, on my artist page, Chris Reiff, R-E-I-F-F. So.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.
Hi, what's your name and what's your Star Wars claim to fame?
I'm Chris Trevas. I'm a Star Wars illustrator for the last 24 years. Been working on essential guides, the Haynes manuals, packaging art for Hasbro, and a little bit of everything.
Fantastic. All right, so when it comes to Star Wars, what do you know for sure?
For sure, I think we know that the Millennium Falcon is the fastest hunk of junk in the galaxy.
I'll buy that. Somebody who works on the manuals, you would know, wouldn't you?
Yeah, we've illustrated the Millennium Falcon so many times I can't even count anymore.
So if people want to see what you're doing next for your illustration projects, learn more about what's going on with you, where should they go?
I'll follow my Facebook page on Trevas Illustration, Trevas. And my website's under construction right now, but it'll be up soon at christrevas.com. CHRISTREVAS.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yep. All right.
endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other related Star Wars items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2019 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.